What's up, everybody? It's your girl Am, and for those of you who don't know, for the month of February, we decided to do a month of love. We started with singles, we did segments with couples, and in the next episode that you guys are about to watch is with a divorcee. And that person is my mom. And the reason why I wanted to do this episode was because this being a month of love, I wanted to put on a platform that it is still possible to be able to love even after a divorce. So like I said, this episode is near and dear to my heart. I convinced my mom to come on and pretty much talk to you guys about what her experience was like. And I'm not gonna lie, she may preach somewhere through the episode, so try to still stick with it. This episode may not be for everybody, but for those who do enjoy it, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and I hope to hear from you guys very soon.
Hello, my name is Felicia, and I am Amber's mom, and I'm just glad to be a part of this segment.
What way would you describe your season right now, relationship-wise?
Currently, I am happily divorced.
How long have you been divorced?
I've been divorced March 2021 will make 10 years that I have been divorced.
Before your divorce, how long were you in your marriage?
Before my divorce, I was married for a total of 17 years.
All right, so 17 years of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
What were your expectations going into a marriage? I know usually as a child, as a young woman, we tend to have fairy tales and these dreams and fantasies of what way we want to be when we're married. So before your divorce, before your marriage, what was your idea of love and companionship in a marriage?
Okay, so let me just say this. Back then, I am not the same person that I was back then. Okay, I believe I got married. Oh boy, I think I was 24 years old. Yeah, I had to be between 23 and 24 years old. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what age. I know it was between that time frame. And back then, of course, you know, when I got married, I was in love, you know, and I just thought at that time that I was going to be married forever, you know. But in life, things happen. In marriages, things happen. And, you know, here we go fast forward towards my future. That didn't happen with me. I did not remain married. You know, there's situations that happen that caused my marriage. I don't want to just say myself. That caused my marriage to end up in divorce. But, you know, to answer your question, you know, back then I was in love, you know, and I will tell anyone, you know, no matter what age you are, you know, if you're in love, and at that time, you know, I went through counseling, my ex-husband and myself. We went through counseling, and at the time, yes, it was the right thing to do. But, you know, as time went on, you know, our marriage, unfortunately, it resulted in a divorce.
So this counseling that you went through, was this before the marriage or was it during the marriage?
We went through counseling before our marriage.
Was this mutual? Was this mutually agreed to do this?
Yes, this was mutual. And of course, our pastor at the time would not marry us until we, you know, had counseling. And not only that, at the time too, him and I, we both prayed, you know, and I'll never, ever forget this. Before I married him, I went on a fast, and I did ask God this. You know, first of all, I wanted to make sure, is this the man that I'm supposed to marry? In God's words, and I know without a shadow of a doubt that his words to me was that God was going to bless me whether I marry him or not. So in other words, even if it wasn't him, God was always going to be with me. So whether I marry him or not, God was going to bless me. So from there, you know, I still believe, you know, it was my decision. And yes, I did marry him. And, you know, we had some good days. I have to admit, we had some good days. But
I mean, you had some lovely children.
Oh, of course, especially the one that's talking now. Yes, and you know what else too? I cannot even say I don't regret anything. I don't regret nothing. Everything that happened, I know that it'll be a different segment, to hear, I don't want to say the intricate details, but, as I said, things did happen. But the place I am right now, it's a wonderful spot, and as far as divorce, no one gets married to get divorced. No one. And sometimes, I don't want to just say sometimes, let me just speak for myself. Divorce is not always a bad thing. Sometimes that is your way out. God makes a way of escape. So if that's your way out, if that's the door that God is opening so that you can have a better life, that's what happened with me. I went forward, and thank you, Jesus.
Let's get into a little bit about the transition of the divorce. So some people say that divorce is similar to a death, and that's because when you are divorcing, two souls are basically separated. So what was that like for you, emotionally, spiritually?
Okay, so first, let me say, I think that you nailed it. Whenever any divorce occurs, no matter how long you were married, that's the death of a marriage. You understand? That anytime you mourn a death, anytime you go through a death, that's not a happy event. Okay, so I can honestly say I did go through that stage. Whenever someone died, you go through a grieving process. And I know that I went through that stage, and I had to ask the Lord to help me because it's painful. It's very, very painful, but one thing I can say is there is another side. I will tell any other person that's, contemplating divorce and I'm afraid of the pain that they're going to have to endure. You're going to get through that. One thing I can say for me, I had such a great support system. If anyone going through a divorce, you will need a support system, mainly Jesus. Okay. That of course, God helped me through it, and then you mentioned too, as far as with the children, that is the only part of divorce that's, it's painful, because it's like your whole family dynamic, everything just changes. It's not only, you being separated spiritually and physically from your partner, but then you have the children. You understand? So their hearts, they have to go through a healing as well. It's not just the parent. So anyone that's in the process of going through a divorce, you have to also, seek counseling. That's what I did. I went through counseling. My children and I went through counseling, except for one of them. I have a total of 5 children. Mm-hmm. But one of my children, they did not seek counseling. And then I can just say too, looking at, as I said, it's almost 10 years later, I see like the different changes that my children went through because of our divorce. And even to this day, there's still some situations that, my children are still carrying, but by the grace of God, I know that they're going to get through it.
Okay, so going back to the emotional side, like you said, emotionally, it was very difficult. So going through and mourning the death of the relationship, mm-hmm. you still had to be a mother. You still had to be a leader for your children. So what was that like as far as showing up as a mother?
Going through that process, I basically had to put me to the side so that I can be there for my children. That was really hard because, as I said, when you go through a divorce, it's like, it's a tearing. I know at the same time too, because of the reasons why I was going through the divorce, I was going through a lot. My heart was broken, and then, Um, oh boy, I'm trying not to go there, but um, yeah, my heart was broken, and at the time, I just wanted to make sure that my children was um, well mentally, physically, because I did see a difference. Um, I do recall it's a lot of episodes. It's just so many things that's crossing my mind right now, and I know that each and every one of my children was carrying the pain in a different way, and I had to, at the time, I just had to keep everyone afloat. That's the best way I can say it. It's like I didn't want nobody to drown. I have to keep myself afloat. Then I have to make sure my children stayed afloat. So that's a deep question. I'm trying to, answer it to where I don't have to go deep into details, but that's the best way I'm gonna.
So, as far as trust, I mean, going back to how you opened this segment as happily divorced,
Mm-hmm.
it seems that a lot of healing has taken place.
Mm-hmm.
But at what point would you say that you were able to fully take that power? Well, do you feel that you've taken most of that power that you may have lost as a woman, as a mother, as a once wife? What point were you able to gain that back? Because you were married for 17 years. You're now coming up to 10 years of divorce. So you
Mm-hmm.
haven't fully had the same amount of time out of the marriage as you have in. So at what point would you say was where you were able to take some of that power back?
First, let me just say I don't have some power. I have all my power back. Okay, that's number one, because it was a time when I didn't have any power. Okay, and that's when I was married. I didn't have nothing. Okay, but right now I'm at a stage to where I have all my power, 100% fully restored. I have all my pieces back together again. The best way I can describe, there was a time, what is that nursery rhyme? I don't know if it's a nursery rhyme where Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great big fall. Honey, all the king horses and all the king's men could not put Humpty Dumpty back together again. That was my heart. My heart was just completely in pieces. Okay? And when I tell you, when you go through that process, it's going to feel like, when you go through divorce, it's going to feel like, as you mentioned earlier, death. But thank you, God, there is a restorer. God is a restorer. I cannot give him credit. I thank God for the support group, but having a relationship with God, I will tell anybody, even if you are not there yet. When I say there yet, I'm talking about as far as having a committed relationship with God. God is just so faithful. He's there for the brokenhearted. And I know with myself, when prior to my divorce and coming out of my divorce, I was starting with ground zero. All I had was God and my 5 kids. That's it. Didn't have no place to live. Okay? We didn't have no place to live. I know you remember that. Did not have no vehicle. Okay? Did not have any type of financial support. Okay? But look at us now. No, I'm serious. I mean, I just got to share this, Somehow, some way, God allowed me, and this is just part of my testimony, I was able to return back to college, okay? Graduate with my degree, Bachelor's of Science degree in mathematics. Not only that, I was able to have my own place, a place for my children and I to live. I'm talking about my own apartment, something that I had to pay for. I didn't have to depend on nobody, but I'm grateful to God for that. When I say I don't want to just make it seem like I did anything. With the help of God, I was able to have my own apartment. I was able to go back and work, and that's where that restoration came in, as far as with a statement that you mentioned, how was I able to regain my power? That power came with me taking one day at a time. When I thought, there was one time when I just felt as though, this is it. But, once you start from ground zero, you can't go far. You can't go no lower. And that's where I was. I was exactly flat down to ground zero. And somehow, some way, through the help of God, and I'm going to keep saying that because that's where my help comes from. Somehow, some way, throughout the years, God allowed me, He helped me to build, for me to be built. And not so much on the outside, but on the inside. That foundation is strong because I know who I'm standing on. I'm standing on God. He's my rock that I stand on, and not just me. I just see to me, it's a miracle because what I've been through, not a lot of people survive. And that's just being real, I mean, if anybody want to know the details, that's another segment. But seriously, what I went through, a lot of people do not survive, So I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be on this side. And that's why I can honestly say that I'm happily divorced because I have my mind. I have my heart. Most of all, I have me because I lost me. I lost my identity. But I know who Felicia is. Oh, and I love this Felicia. I'm in love with me. I'm talking about in a positive way, in a positive way. You know what I mean by that. But I actually love this person. I do, and I have high expectations for her, for me. I do. Very high expectations. I know my worth, so yeah, that's where I'm at.
So on that note, going through all of that and now having your restorative power, what would you say now are things that you would be looking for in a marriage if you were to remarry?
I would say,
if you are open to.
You know what? You just had to go there. I'm not going to say that I'm not open to marriage. If it happens, it happens. Okay. If it don't happen, I'm still fine. Honestly, I am fine. But if that door do open, of course, love, that's very important, and any relationship, love, it grows, that's very important to me. I want to be able to grow with someone, not just grow, physically, mentally. I just want to be able to, I want us to be on the same page as far as growing. I don't want it to be like in no stagnant relationship.
So before we close out in a little bit, I want you to speak to the woman that you were back then. And the reason why I want you to do that is because I feel like there may possibly be a woman who probably may be in or maybe have just came out of what you were going through as far as, dealing with a divorce, having maybe kids involved, or just being used to being in union with someone for so long.
For someone that's contemplating marriage, first thing I would say, do not lose your identity. Make sure you have standards, do not let anything go. Pay attention while you're in the dating stage. Pay attention to the red flags because that's not going nowhere. If you see a red flag, you confront it with your mate, I mean, anything. First of all, you have to have standards, and that's what I mean by pay attention to the red flags. Let me give you an example. Like if you and your potential fiance go out on a date, and I'm not trying to be rude, this person never ever have finances, and you always picking up the bill. I mean, it works both ways, male or female. Just pay attention to that. I mean, just be honest in the beginning of the relationship. If you guys are going out, all right, this week I got the bill, next week, oh, you got the bill. But don't just take for granted and assume that, oh, he's always going to pay. No, don't do that. Because in the long run, once after you get married, he's gonna want to see, all right, so what are you bringing to the table? That this is just an example.
So, not to interrupt, but were there any things before the marriage that may have been red flags in any angle that you still were kind of waiting it out to see maybe this will change, whether it be financially, whether it be emotionally? Were there any signs before the marriage that, okay, this could potentially be a problem, and then going into the marriage, these things didn't change? Or would you say that most of these problems developed within the time?
Okay. I would say, as you was talking, there were, you want to know exactly what it was?
I mean,
No,
that's
well,
on you.
well, no, I'm not going to share that.
That.
I don't want to, make it seem like I'm exposing this individual. But yeah, there were signs. I did see some red flags. Okay, and that's why I made that statement. There were some things that I did see during the dating stage, and as we progressed in our marriage and as time went on, that, how can I say, it was a snowball. Started out as a small snowball, but each time we went on, years in marriage, it got really big. And then all of a sudden, what happens with a big snowball? It crashed, but that's what happened with us.
So, going back to what your advice was,
Yes.
Would you say that there's a level of things to let fly or things to really focus on? Would you say that there's a time frame on
I
that?
would say everything really depends on your standards. If you are just a total chill person, laid back and just let things fly by, that's on you. And this is one advice. If I can give somebody, those who are about to get married, you put down, get a journal out. You write down some things that's definitely no, I'm not gonna accept this. And then you write down some things that you might say, all right, I'll let this fly by. To me, if you see it, just see it on paper, or just actually have a mental picture of it, that way you can, bring it to the forefront with your potential mate and let them know you got to talk about this stuff, because it's not just going to go away. You guys have to talk about whatever issues, whatever the issue is. But I know as far as myself, and I know I gave this advice to you as well. Write down whatever you want. I really don't believe in anyone settling. Don't be desperate to jump into a relationship. Just because you have options, you might have options of different people that you can date. It might be someone you might say, you know what, maybe that's my potential mate. I just, I'm not saying that there are 100% perfect people, but just the message that I'm just trying to say is just please don't settle. Don't settle. Know your worth. Know your value. God does not create any garbage or trash. Just know that you're valuable. And some people you're not compatible with. And then too, if I can, let me go right back and just say this. Although I am divorced, and I wonder if any other people who are divorced have this question. Can they see themselves, let's just say if I was not divorced, can I see myself with my mate and to where I am right now? The answer will be no. Some people are not destined to be in your future. Some things God might allow to happen, some things just might happen, As I said in the beginning, I never knew that I was going to be a divorcee, but hey, for me to actually sit right back and think about the last 10 years, would I be in this place now? Would I have all that I have now had I been married? Nope. Would I have been able to finish college? Nope. So some things it works out better, And this is what I mean by you have to endure that pain, go through that death, which is the divorce, go through that death of the marriage, go through that pain, go through that counseling, keep yourself rooted and grounded in God, and let him lead you to the other side. Because there is another side of this. There is life after divorce. Now, had I seen this, 10 years ago? In the beginning? No, I didn't know that. I did not know that. Because again, I was starting from ground zero. But now I'm running. I didn't mean to come out and burst like that. But girl, listen, honey, listen. There is life on the other side. It is. It's life.
Here at AmIGrownYet, we are very glad that you came and shed some light on the topic of divorce and a little bit of your experience.
Just a little bit.
Literally like 5% of your experience.
I don't think they can handle the other. I'm serious. Maybe,
we're
gonna have to do a separate segment. I mean, like if these people want to go dig deep, we can do that. But right now, they just got surface material. Okay, this was just surface stuff.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of this month of love. Are you open to love still? Of
course I am. Listen, God is love. Why would that door be shut?
We just need to know for the listeners.
Okay. All right.
She prefers chocolate. Closing out.
All right. Thank you for having me.
Before you click off, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you haven't already, make sure you go back and check out all our past episodes. And in the future, if you want to hear any specific topics from me or extra guests on the show, let me know in the comments. Or if you aren't already, make sure you are following us on Instagram. The Instagram is am_IGrownYet. The link will be down below. And I hope to be hearing from you guys soon.